Yep, that's me. I've gotten myself into a little bit of a pickle here, haven't I? You're probably wondering how I got here. Well, let me tell you. It's a long story. Well, it's been about a year since I've done a video like this, and my past self has asked about how this year has been. So, yeah, take it away, me. I can't stand looking at my face, so I'll make this brief.
Hi, how are you? Is this YouTube channel still a thing? Do you have a job yet? Where are you now? How's the fandom going? How deep into the rabbit hole have you sunk now?
So I could answer these questions, and it would be a pretty fun video, but I would rather do something a little more sincere. And for this video, I think I should start at the beginning. I started my YouTube channel after compiling enough dumb footage at Midwest Fur Fest 2017 to make a stupid con video. I've always enjoyed editing, and I want to get a bit better at it. The footage seemed like it would make good practice, so why not? Honestly, I think it's a small dream of everyone to make videos on the internet and have people watch them. But I kept my hopes low. Only rarely do someone's fantasies become their reality, and I expected to write it off on the long list of things that never worked out, but at least I could say that I tried. Also, Egg and Rovek stopped making stupid con videos and I needed more. The truth is, I was lonely at MFF when I went my first year. I went with barely any friends, and I lost them quickly while exploring the con. I was alone, isolated, anxious, and scared. So scared, in fact, that I barely talked to anyone. I consistently felt like a third wheel, and the only time I really felt like I was worth something was when someone I looked up to walked over to me a day after I introduced myself to them. And yeah, that meant the world to me, and we're still friends to this day, so thanks, T-Lark. You made my con. The other thing that was difficult to do at the con was meet people that I looked up to for a year in person. I was timid, and I barely said hi to any of them. Ultimately, there were just 3 people that I actually said hi to. One of them has already been mentioned, and I only mustered up the courage to talk to the second person because I'd helped them redesign their character, and the third person ended up being their brother. And after I had interacted with these people, I went back to being lonely. And that massive list of people that inspired me went untouched. I really didn't know how to make friends. Now let's go further back, way back to when I was a kid. I was the social type, but not in the good way. I was, for lack of a better word, the annoying kid. I was loud, I was obnoxious, and I would only talk about myself because I didn't know any better. I was also hypersensitive, so I cried. A lot. Because of this, I ended up getting bullied throughout most of elementary school, which only made things worse. And I started lashing out at people that I felt were just as weak as me, and then the unthinkable happened. The roles flipped, and I became the bully. I did it because I thought maybe by hurting others it would make me feel a little bit better about myself. Well, I was wrong, and I realized that halfway through middle school and grew out of it. Then I switched to just repressing my emotions altogether, and only talking about myself. Again. And I felt hopeless. Because of this, I became severely depressed. I felt this sense of hopelessness that I'd never experienced before and have never experienced since. It was almost unbearable to cope with, and it nearly consumed me entirely. As far as I can tell, it stemmed from me thinking that my reality was the worst possible scenario, and so I thought I was one of the most unpopular, hated, disgusting, and irritating people at my school, and that people only put up with me out of pity rather than genuinely enjoying being around me. I got out of depression with the help of the few friends I had, and also, well, therapy. And even though I was never clinically diagnosed with depression, I'm glad I'm past the point where I thought the best option was just to end it all. Granted, there were some lasting effects. That dark part of my life did affect my personality. Because of those experiences, I tend to distance myself from others. Because I'm afraid if I get too close, I'll become irritating and a nuisance. Also, I try to be quiet, which I fail at spectacularly because I'm actually a very vocal person. Even so, I will almost always back down if someone interrupts me. And most of all, I very rarely show my emotions. Because I'm afraid if I open up, people will strike me down like they've done in the past. So instead, I repress them. So much so that I don't even express them when I'm alone anymore. But There has always been an opposing side of myself that has made it impossible for me to truly give in, to spiral into isolation and conformity. It was an unbridled need for exploration, a rigorous passion for everything and anything I was interested in, an unquenchable thirst for answers, and most relevant to our topic, an incessant need to share. And this side of me is the reason I started making videos. There are several things that motivate me to make the kind of videos I make. My Why Did I Film This series spawned from me wanting to share my experiences from my perspective. I chose not to show my face in my videos because it's more about the events happening around me than the things happening to me. Because of this, I hope that people would be able to connect more with the video than they do with the more standard vlog format, and for the most part it seems to have worked. They tend to be pretty well received. And for my tutorial videos, well, I started them out of spite. When I began showing my art on Instagram, I discovered something called a call-out culture on there, and I hated it. All I saw were people saying, don't do this and don't do that, but I never really saw anybody say, do this instead. People love to dislike things that are quote-unquote bad, but no one ever asks why people do bad things in the first place. For me, when I saw people tracing and stealing art, I didn't see evil people. I saw people who didn't know any better. I saw people who loved art but had no skill to make it themselves. These are people who know it's not right, but feel that they don't have any other options. So I thought I'd take those tracers, those art thieves, those people who feel like they were turned on by the things they love, and I would do my best to teach them what I know. Because no one else had the guts to admit that maybe all some people needed was a gentle push in the right direction. Maybe all they needed was help, instead of being attacked by a mob that finds it easier to hound people for being wrong than to show how to be right. And so my tutorials were born. If you told me a year ago that in 12 months I would accumulate 50,000 subscribers, I'd have said you're full of it. If you told me that I'd be friends with people I was too scared to even come up and talk to at my first convention, I wouldn't believe you. If you told me that I would not only wear a fursuit, but I would also be able to make my own, I would have scoffed at the thought. And if you told me that I'd inspire others to get into drawing with my videos, and I'd be a role model for more people than I can count, I would have laughed and gone about my day. We always expect the ordinary. We are taught to keep our dreams in check and to compromise. We are taught to dream, but not to dream too big. We are taught to believe that we have to put things into perspective, and because of that we limit ourselves. We don't stop trying because we want to. We stop trying because, inevitably, we think we have to. I am an average person. I grew up in a family that was well off. I have no mental or physical problems to speak of. I've never faced racial bias. I'm not gay or bi, so I was never persecuted for that either. At a surface level, I am one of the most conventional people you will ever meet. There was never anything special about me, yet here I am. So why not you? Why not us? Why do we hold ourselves back and stay within the comfort of the mundane, where all things are known and can only stagnate? We stay where we are because we know it, and we understand it. Yes, we may not like it, but we understand it. When you take a leap of faith, it's unpredictable and scary. You jump into the unknown, not sure of the outcome, and our brains will always assume the worst, and that's why it's a leap of faith. And you will fall, and you will fail, and you will feel inadequacy that you never thought possible. But you will get back up, because the toughest people are not those who succeed at the first try. The toughest people are born from the ashes of failure and kneeled by the crucible of hard work and passion, striving forward with others in mind, not just themselves. These are the people who have their hearts in the right place. And for the first time in my life, I can say mine is too. I never understood why YouTubers say, "we did it." It always seemed odd to me. I understand that it's supposed to instill this sense of accomplishment in the viewers, but I'm not going to say that, because I think you're smart enough to not believe it. The situation is more nuanced than saying, "we did it." I joined the furry fandom 2 years ago. Rose-tinted pretense of the community embracing me with open arms, saying, "You're accepted and we love you," were false. No, the fandom did not do any of that. It lent something more valuable than a pat on the back. The fandom lent me its eyes. There they were, in the background, foreboding, critical, watching precisely what I was going to do. And for the first time in a long time, my success was in my hands. and my hands alone. After I had shown my work, proving what I was capable of, only then did I get the first pat on the back, and then a firm handshake, and then finally a hug. Not because I asked for it, but because I earned it, and because of that, I had validation that all the hard work I put in wasn't for nothing. And for me, that's worth much more than blind acceptance. After all, it's you, the viewer, who decides whether or not to watch me. You are the bar that determines whether or not I'm putting in the effort. The bar that I'm grateful to have, because even though I will not say we did it, I couldn't have done it without people who are willing to watch and willing to listen. Now here I am, in beautiful Silver Star Ski Resort, surrounded by friends, enjoying the last week of 2018. I have come a long way from that scared, timid person attending their first convention. I have made videos, made suits, made money, made friends, and made many people's days. I am no longer the person who is scared to walk up to their idols. Now I am the person that, a year ago, I myself would have been scared to walk up and start a conversation with. And I know there are people like that at cons I've been to, and honestly, it saddens me, because I would have loved to meet as many of you as possible. But I'm sure there'll be other opportunities, because this is only the beginning. There are those who feel empty inside, those who feel incomplete, and who are never satisfied. I know that feeling myself, and sometimes it gets to me, as I'm sure it does to everyone. But instead of looking at it as a void that will never be filled, I see it as an impetus for adventure. No matter how dark the nights get, I know I'll always push forward. There are more roads that I have not traveled, and I can't wait to pack the car. This channel is only a year old, and I've already made it this far. So let's take the first step into the new year with confidence so that we may fall and fail and add scars to our bodies. Because when you slide into life's home plate, would you want to serenely walk towards it, pristine, perfect, clean and unscratched? Or would you rather slam into it covered in dust, scratches, dirt and grime, yelling, "Wow, what a ride." So here's to another year and another adventure. Cheers.